I first heard about Africa, I guess it was about 3 years ago. My wife and I, Loring, my bride, my co-heir, whatever you want to call it, I'm using church names, sorry. We were at a crisis of, not faith, but just kind of what does God want from us? What does He want us to do? What am I to be? All the normal questions you ask when you first become a Christian. And that was about 4 or 5 years ago. And anyway, struggling through that, we felt called to missions, particularly in Africa. For no other reason, because it, I don't know if it was because it sounded cruel or if it was an actual God thing. But at any rate, that was kind of the first inclination towards Africa. So we applied to be missionaries before we ever showed up in Africa, but we were shot down. So about a month later, pits of despair, what do we do now? Frank Bataille shows up at East Haven in the middle of Montana. He's from Uganda, and we look at each other, grinning, thinking, oh my, this is a sign from God. And so about a year later, we land in Uganda for the first time, in Kampala.
The first time we went, I don't know what I was really expecting, but the first few nights I pretty much cried myself to sleep because once you got there, it was like poverty like we'd never seen before, and like little babies running around playing, by the sewers and stuff. But they were really, really happy. And it was just this weird, like I just couldn't understand how these people could live in such squalor and be so happy. And the primary mission that the women took on was talking to high schoolers and also younger children about Jesus, which was a really neat experience because here we're not usually allowed to go into public schools and profess Christ or spread the gospel, and there they welcome it. We got to see some come to salvation and some that seemed interested but were still kind of hesitant. Dan and I had a few extra days there while the rest of the group had come back, so we got to experience what it would be like alone, because it's easy to say we wanted to live there when we were still with our group of friends, and those few days kind of were telling that we could do it. And when we got home, it was like God was just pulling our hearts still to Africa, and we just thought about it constantly and looked at the pictures over and over again, and even trying to show them to our family and friends. They just weren't as excited about them as we were, and it was a hard transition. We were kind of bummed out and depressed for a couple weeks, I think.
So I'm building houses. It's going all right. Market's slowing down. Which is slowing me down just enough to realize, hey, what am I doing this whole thing for anyway? And the whole goal was to build out a certain X amount of houses, and then we're going to move to Uganda. And looking at that, looking at our timing, looking at the market, I was realizing that building wasn't going to be in my future, at least with my business partner anyway. So anyway, I called him up. And I said, hey, we're closing down shop. We're moving to Uganda. Things aren't going here. We're just taking this as God's timing, and it's time to go. So anyway, he said, okay, that's fine. Sounds good. So about a week later, we get an email from John Pipes from International Messengers. Don't know this guy. I've never talked to him. Never even heard of this organization. My wife kindly responds with, don't know who you are. Please give me more information. How'd you get our email? That sort of thing. And so he responds back, and I can't remember who it was that gave me that information about us, but at any rate, we spoke about the next day, and we spoke the next day for about 2 hours, and we're talking about Africa, we're talking about Uganda in particular, their vision for Uganda, our vision for Uganda, and it just really fit in there nice, like mega blocks. So from then, I was kind of excited. I was still kind of thinking the Lone Ranger thing sounded good. We ended up going and spent some time there, just being there, just feeling at home. Like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is where God's called me. I'm in the place. And it was just kind of that, wow, here I am. This is where I'm going to be. get back, have more conversation with international messengers. Matter of fact, we had the president of the organization as well as the camp director in our living room talking to us about missions, encouraging us not to go as Lone Rangers, kind of talking us down from silver, if you will. And we really felt a good connection with them. Their vision for missions, our vision for Uganda really fits well in that relationship. So we applied, were accepted, we rejoiced, and here we are on our way to Libby, Montana, of all places, to prepare us for a third world country.
So we're going back, and I'm really excited. It's been a process. It's been a long process. Selling the house, getting it ready to sell, preparing the kids, preparing friends and family. And I would be lying if I said that there was never a moment of anxiety or concern about what we're doing. Even while we're still waiting for all the final details of our house to be sold, it's hard to wait and be patient and be faithful. But thus far, God has done such amazing things. He sold our spec homes right when they needed to sell. Everything has just fallen in place. And had we given up with the first rejection or the second one, I don't think that we would be in God's will.
I feel like people talking about, well, I can't believe how you've endured this, or you're giving up so much, and it seems like such a hard thing. It doesn't feel like that at all. It just feels like that's what we're supposed to do. It feels like obedience. The enduring part is following Christ, is continuing no matter what gets in the way, is following Christ and obedience to Him and what He would have you do. Whether it's mopping up floors, driving a tractor, hammering nails, preaching, teaching, do it all to the glory